In this video, I'm going to show you how to run the Roland Mt90U music player. In the church, I suggest that we power it up before we power up the organ so that there's no pop through the speaker system. Power button is here. When I hit power, we're going to see it power up in the window. Just takes a couple seconds. And also we see a little flash with the USB drive down below, which means it's reading the USB drive. As soon as we see the titles, we know that it's powered up. A couple of features to notice right away is the arrow up here that's pointing to the title. When that is pointed there, because it can move around a little bit, that'll enable us to scroll through the titles. Scrolling through the titles, we use the negative and plus signs here. So watch as I do a couple of pluses. We're going through 5, 6, 7. I can hold it down and you'll see you would be able to scroll quite rapidly. I'm up to 80 something now, 81, 82, and so on. Alright, the volume control is another important thing to know. You have full range control of the volume. You could start with it about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, so to speak, to get started. Here's our functions for playing back. Our play button, our stop button, and our reset button. If you should ever stop it and want to start again, you'd hit this one. So I'm going to hit play. It begins right away. If you need to stop it, there we are. And then this number you see down below represents measure numbers. That means it was stopped mid-song. And again, if you wanted to reset it, we would hit this button to take you back to the beginning. Not that you'd have to do it, but just so you know. Basically, those are the main functions that you would need to know about to run the machine. If for any reason the arrow up here by the title isn't there, it's over somewhere else, to get it back there, we hit this button here, which looks like a little book. And it would move it right back there so that you'd been able to go over and scroll up and down the song list. Powering down, I would first power down the organ. That way the speakers are turned off. And then when you turn off the power of the music player, it won't make a huge pop through the speakers. Okay, part 2 of running the Roland music player. I'm going to show you a file that I have here, a bell toll. I'm going to choose that file because it's a short one. I want you to pay attention to the arrow, how it will move when I hit the play button. It moved over to here, to the tempo, which is fine. But I'm going to let this run out, which is only going to be about 4 bells here. And when it runs out, I want you to see how the arrow will not jump back to the title. It'll remain over here by the tempo. That should have been the last bell. And you'll see the numbers will stop running here. Plus the light goes out down here on the play button. So it's done. So when a song, if the song should be let run through its entirety and just stops on its own, the arrow is still over here by the tempo. And if you try to go to another song, pushing plus and minus is only changing numbers on the tempo. So we need to use this button, which we'll call the song button, which when we hit it brings the arrow back up to the title. Therefore we can now file through the songs. Okay, this is the third video on running the Roland music player. This video I'm going to talk about tempo change. Every so often the need could be there to change the tempo of the song. Let's say for instance a song might be too fast. An example I know that's true on here is Enter the Journey. So I'm going to pull that song up and I notice over here that it's telling me the tempo is 180. I recorded it at that speed as that was the indicated tempo, but I know I play it slower because it's just too fast there. To change the tempo, we want to use the button next to the song button. It looks like a quarter note equals. When you click it, or push it rather, you're going to see the arrow jumps right over there to 180. Then I can use the down arrow. I'm going to bring it down 20 numbers to 160. And then that's it. we would hit play, and it will play back at 160. This is part 4 of working with the Roland music player. Two things I want to talk about in this video. One is if you should accidentally push a button here that I have done, and it's this one right here. It looks like a metronome, and you will hear the metronome clicking away. You just hit it again to shut it off. I accidentally bumped a button like that on a church organ one time during a funeral and had to find my way to turn it off. The last part is, and I can't say enough, that we really need to remember this part. In the situation in the church, when we go to power down, we need to power the organ off first, because that will turn off the speaker system. After the organ is off, then turn this off. If you do it in the reverse, you're going to hear a huge pop through the speakers, and that's just not a good idea for the speakers to get that kind of a force. Okay, that's it.